Hello, my name is Jayme McElvaney. I'm the founder of the Let Them Play Michigan group that currently has over 32,000 members on Facebook. Our group started back in August when football was taken away. That fight was important to me because my son's passion is football. However, today I'm not here for my son, but for the tens of thousands of athletes across the state of Michigan who now find themselves in the same position. Michigan student athletes have become the targets of political games. The governor's office and the health department continually claim that they are following the science and looking at the numbers, and that this is why the only thing in the entire state that is not allowed to open are these high school sports. So that must mean that these athletes are considered to be the only danger left in the state of Michigan. And since Michigan is one of the only states continuing with this type of restriction, I guess you could say that means that these Michigan high school athletes are one of the only threats left in the entire country. But if we're following the science, how in the world is this possible? Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has their own science that they collected from our athletes this past fall. That science is indisputable. Our fall athletes were able to compete 95 to 98% of their competitions because the positive test rate was so low. We then went on to be a part of the pilot program from the health department, where they performed over 30,000 tests on our athletes with a 99.8% negative test rate. So where is the science? We're asking the state of Michigan, where's your science? We have our science. The science the governor keeps sharing is from back in November. And she also keeps sharing rates from sports in general. She's never talked about the high school science. That's a slap in the face to these athletes and coaches who have put so much effort into following every single one of her rules to a T. Stand here. Don't touch that. Don't breathe on one another. Don't talk to one another. Don't spend the night with your friends. Don't go on vacation. Don't hang out with your friends on the weekend. Don't go over to your family's house for holidays. Don't hug your grandparents. And the final rule that they abided by, which in my opinion is one of the most ridiculous, disgusting things that we have done to our students in the state of Michigan, is we have asked them to put a barrier over their nose and mouth while performing high-level intensity sports. How any lawmaker in the state can allow that is mind-blowing to me. We are the only state in the entire country that imposes that abuse on the youth that we are supposed to be taking care of. But they did it. They did it with the hopes of being able to have one thing given back to them throughout this horrible year that they have been dealt. But no, none of that was good enough. What else can these kids possibly do? I'll tell you what is happening. These kids are losing their faith in government. It's a sad state that we are in when an entire generation of kids who will soon be of voting age have lost all faith in having their voices heard by their elected officials. I get messages on a daily basis from students reaching out, begging me for help. I got a message from a mom saying she was currently holding her 6'2" son on her lap as he cried of exhaustion from the emotional roller coaster that we are putting these kids through. I have many kids message me and say, Miss McElvaney, is there anything you're going to do to help us? Because I really don't think I can deal with this much longer. This statement from a kid that I'm looking at right now, I'm looking at a picture of his face because he snapped me this picture, and he wrote the words, "The pain of never being able to be happy, the pain of losing yourself as a person, the pain of faking a smile every day, the pain of not ever knowing how today is going to go, the pain of not knowing what is going to happen." The mental health of Michigan's children are at an all-time low, and it's being ignored. Children all over the country are committing suicide at an alarming rate, and it's being ignored. I understand that we're dealing with a terrible situation when it comes to the virus. I have cried many tears when my brother, a father of 4, was in the hospital with double pneumonia, COVID, and severely damaged lungs. But what should happen is that the state of Michigan and the health department should be asking these high school athletes and coaches for help. They should be going to them to find out how to deal with this virus, because it seems like the athletes have it figured out. They have figured out how to produce a 99.8 negative test rate. They have figured out how to continually test lower than the general population and the general population of other teenagers. But what are they getting out of it? Punishment. Punishment with zero explanation, zero science to back up their punishment, zero concern for their well-being. We have no other option in the state of Michigan than to get these kids back into school and back into sports. Their mental health literally depends on it. Thank you.